Okay, what do you mean by current? What do you mean by currents? What do you mean is the definition of current? The continuous passing of electrons is known as current. Generally, whenever you are seeing the surface of the earth, assume that this is the ocean. Maybe this is the ocean. On the surface of the earth, you can find the two important landforms. One is called as continent, other one is called as ocean. Assume that this is the ocean. This is the ocean. Whenever, every day, what is coming onto the surface of the earth? Insolation. What do you mean by insolation? Incoming of solar energy in the form of long wave or short wave? Short wave. This insulated energy can be penetrated the maximum of up to how many meters? 200 meters. The sunlight or sun rays can be penetrated maximum of how many meters? 200 meters. This is the 200 meters. Up to this extent, you can find the penetration of sunlight. Beyond the 200 meters, there is no question of penetration of sunlight. For example, assume that this is the Pacific Ocean. What is the depth of Pacific Ocean? What is the depth of the ocean? 6,000 meters, nothing but 6 kilometers of depth. Up to what extent the sun rays will be penetrated? Just 200 meters. How much of the ocean is remaining right now? 5,800 meters. Within this particular 5,800 meters, can you able to see the penetration of sunlight? Whenever the sunlight is not penetrating, can you able to see the temperatures? Whenever the temperatures are not there, what type of temperature you can find? Low temperatures or high temperatures? Low temperatures. What about the surface of ocean? High temperatures. Intavaraku okay na? See here, there is one particular equation. The name of equation is known as temperature is inversely proportional to pressure. What do you mean by inversely proportional to pressure? When temperature increases, what about the pressure? Decreases. Whenever the temperature decreases, what about the pressure? Increases. And also, one side the insolation is coming, on the other side, what is happening? See here, there is a blowing of wind. Whenever the wind is blowing from which direction to which direction? What is this direction? East. What is this direction? West. Whenever the wind is blowing continuously from east to west, what happened to the waters? The waters will be stagnated there itself. Along with the winds, the waters are also moving. The waters are also moving. Which waters are moving? Surface waters or the deep ocean waters? Surface of the waters. Nothing but the flow of water continuously under the influence of winds in a particular direction is known as ocean currents. Because of continuous flow of wind, whatever the waters are there in the top of the ocean, all the ocean waters are moving one particular side to another particular side without any deviation. That particular currents are called as ocean currents. What is the literal meaning of currents? Flow of electron. అంటే మనం ఇక్కడ స్విచ్ ఆన్ చేస్తే ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్ ఎలా వెళ్తాయి? స్ట్రైట్గా ఎక్కడైతే లైట్ ఉంటుందో అక్కడికే కదా వెళ్తాయి, లేకుంటే లైట్ నుంచి ఇక్కడికి వస్తుందా? లైట్ నుంచి ఇక్కడికి వస్తే ఇది వెళ్తుంది. నథింగ్ బట్ సిమిలర్లీ ఆల్ దీస్ వాటర్స్ ఆర్ మూవింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ వన్ ప్లేస్ టు అదర్ ప్లేస్ కంటిన్యూస్లీ అండర్ ద ఇన్ఫ్లుయెన్స్ ఆఫ్ winds is known as ocean currents. See the next condition. Whenever the winds are blowing, in which direction the waters are moving? East to west. Whenever the waters are moving, where all the waters are rising? All you people know about the park. Within the park you can find one particular instrument called as seesaw. Not this seesaw. Whenever we are sitting here, some people is moving. What this like this? Whenever this particular personality exerting the force, what happened to this fellow? Antena? Whenever the winds are continuously blowing, there is a accumulation of water at one particular side. Where the waters are accumulating? Western side or eastern side? Western side. Whenever the more waters are accumulating, what happened to the water level here? Increase or decreases? Decreases. Finally, it can be appear like this. ఇక్కడున్న వాటర్లన్నీ ఎక్కడికి వచ్చేసాయి? పక్కకు వచ్చేసాయా? So which water reaches here? Hot waters or cold waters? All these particular waters are hot waters. Whenever all the hot waters went away, who is coming vertically up here? Cold waters. So based on temperature, how many types of ocean currents are there? One is called as warm ocean current, other one is called as cold ocean current. If any region is there here, this particular region is having high temperatures or low temperatures? Low temperatures. If any region is there here, you can find the high temperatures or low temperatures? High temperatures. ఇంతవరకు ఓకేనా? Write down. The continuous flow of water. The continuous flow of water in a definite direction. In a definite direction. Under the influence of winds. Under the influence of winds is known as ocean currents. Is known as ocean currents. The next point, based on temperature, there are two types of currents. Based on temperature, there are two types of currents. The first one is warm ocean current. The first one is warm ocean current. The second one is cold ocean current. Okay, the next point, wherever the warm ocean currents are prevailing, wherever the warm ocean currents are prevailing, that areas wherever warm ocean current is prevailing, that areas will have high temperatures. That area will have high temperatures. The next point, wherever the cold ocean currents are prevailing, wherever cold ocean currents are prevailing, such areas experiences low temperatures. Experiences low temperatures. Okay, this is about the ocean currents. అంతేనా? ఇంకేమైనా ఉన్నాయా? That's it, right? So this is about the factors determining the temperature. What is the first factor? Latitude. Okay, what we discussed is the latitude. Whenever we are moving from lower latitudes to upper latitudes, what about the temperature? Decreases. What is the next one? Altitude. Because of normal lapse rate, whenever we people are moving vertically up from the mean sea level, for every 165 degrees, 165 meters, 1 degree Celsius will be decreases. For 1 kilometer, 6.4 degrees Celsius will be decreases. What we call that particular phenomena? Normal lapse rate. Because of normal lapse rate, the altitudes are having Low temperatures. What is the next one? Distance from the sea. What is the next one? Air masses. And the last one is ocean currents. Give the next heading. Distribution of temperature. Distribution of temperature. Distribution of temperature. Okay. Write down. Entire globe divided into three zones. Entire globe divided into three zones based on temperature distribution. Based on temperature distribution. Based on temperature distribution. The first one is called as torrid zone or tropical zone. The first one is called as torrid zone or tropical zone. The second one is temperate zone. The second one is temperate zone. And the last one is known as polar zone or frigid zone. The first one is called as torrid zone or tropical zone. The second one is called as temperate zone. The last one is known as polar zone or frigid zone. Okay, see the condition. First you understand, then we will write the notes. What is the shape of the earth? Nothing but round ball-like structure. At the center of the globe, there is one imaginary line. What is the name of that imaginary line? Equator. What is the number of equator? 0 degrees. To the northern hemisphere, there is one important latitude which named as 23.5 degree north. What is the name of that particular latitude? Tropic of Cancer. What is the name of this particular latitude? 66.5 degrees. This is called as Arctic Circle. And the last one is 90 degrees north. This is called as which pole? North Pole. Even in the southern hemisphere also you can find the. This is 23.5 degrees south. What we call this one? Tropic of Capricorn. What is this one? 66.5 degrees south. It is called as Antarctic Circle. And the last one is called as South Pole. Inte kada? Now see here, the zone which is extending from Tropic of Cancer the zone which is extending from Tropic of Cancer to till Tropic of Capricorn, that particular zone is called as torrid zone. So what do you mean by torrid zone? The zone which is extending from 23.5 degree north to till 23.5 degrees south. Nothing but it is the area which is extending from Tropic of Cancer to till Tropic of Capricorn. That particular zone is called as torrid zone. Intavaraku okay na? See the next condition. The zone which is extending from, what is this latitude? Tropic of Cancer. What is this latitude? Arctic Circle. Tropic of Cancer and Arctic Circle in the northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere? Northern hemisphere. Nothing but it is the zone which is extending from Tropic of Cancer to Arctic Circle in which hemisphere? Northern hemisphere. That particular zone is called as temperate zone. The temperate zone is not only there in the northern hemisphere, it is also there in the southern hemisphere. But it is extending from which area? What is this one? Tropic of Capricorn. From Tropic of Capricorn to Antarctic Circle. What we call this particular zone? Temperate zone. The zone which is extending from 66.5 degrees to till 90 degrees in both northern hemisphere as well as southern hemisphere. What we call that particular zone? The last one is known as polar zone, which is also known as frigid zone, which is also known as frigid zone. ఇంతవరకు ఓకేనా? What do you mean by torrid zone? Which is extending from Tropic of Cancer to till Tropic of Capricorn. What do you mean by temperate zone? Which is extending from Arctic northern, in the northern hemisphere it is extending from Tropic of Cancer to till Arctic Circle. What about in southern hemisphere? Tropic of Capricorn to till Antarctic Circle. That particular zone is called as temperate zone. Then what do you mean by polar zone? In the northern hemisphere it is extending from Arctic Circle to North Pole. In southern hemisphere it is extending from Antarctic Circle to till South Pole. This particular zone is called as polar zone. Where you can find the high temperatures? In which zone you can find the high temperatures? In which zone? Lower latitudes to upper latitudes. What about the temperature? Decreases. Which is the lower latitude here? Torrid zone. Then we enter into temperate zone. Temperate zone will, then we enter into polar zone. Polar zone is there near the high latitudes or lower latitudes? Higher latitudes. Who is there in the lower latitudes? Equatorial region. Equator కదా? ఈక్వేటర్ ఈ ఏరియా మొత్తం హై టెంపరేచర్స్ ఉన్నాయా, లో టెంపరేచర్స్ ఉంటాయా? హై టెంపరేచర్స్. వాట్ అబౌట్ ద పోలార్ రీజియన్? లో టెంపరేచర్స్. వాట్ అబౌట్ దిస్ టెంపరేట్ రీజియన్? మీడియం టెంపరేచర్స్. ఇంతవరకు ఓకేనా? రైట్ డౌన్. ఎంతవరకు రాశారు? ఏం రాయలేదు కదా? రైట్ డౌన్. గివ్ ద ఫస్ట్ సెట్టింగ్. ట్రాపికల్ ఆర్ టారిడ్ జోన్. ట్రాపికల్ ఆర్ టారిడ్ జోన్. The first one, first point, it is the zone which is extending from Tropic of Cancer to Tropic of Capricorn. Tropic of Cancer to Tropic of Capricorn. The next point, it is the region which are recording high temperatures due to vertical fall of sun rays. Due to vertical fall of sun rays. Okay. The next one, second one, temperate zone. It is the zone which is extending from Arctic Circle, Tropic of Cancer to Arctic Circle in northern hemisphere. northern hemisphere, and from tropic of Capricorn, tropic of Capricorn to to Antarctic Circle in southern hemisphere, in southern hemisphere. The next point, due to falling of, due to falling of slant sun rays, due to falling of slant sun rays, this area recording medium to minimal temperatures, medium to minimal temperatures, medial to minimum temperatures. The last one, polar zone or frigid zone, polar zone or frigid zone. It is the zone, it is the zone which is extending from, it is the zone which is extending from Arctic Circle, Arctic Circle to North Pole, Arctic Circle to North Pole in northern hemisphere, in northern hemisphere, and Antarctic Circle, and Antarctic Circle to South Pole, to South Pole in southern hemisphere. The next point, due to more slanting of sun rays, due to more slanting of sun rays, due to more slanting of sun rays, this area recording, this area recording very low temperatures, recording very low temperatures comparatively remaining two regions, comparatively remaining two regions. Okay, now this is about the distribution. Whatever we discuss right now, torrid zone, temperate zone and polar zone, it is the age-old classification which is there in the NCERT book. But recently there is a new technique which came into the existence, which is called as modern distribution of temperature. Okay,